By holding Russian gas hostage, Putin has recently threatened the Western countries that oppose Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russian reserves of natural gas are the largest in the world at 24.3%. Because it is transported by pipeline, Russian natural gas has benefited the economy greatly, and many European nations have used it. While the average for the EU is 41%, Latvia and the Czech Republic have relied entirely on Russian gas. In this case, the alleged gas threat from Russia caused economic confusion throughout the world. However, a question arises. Putin's control over Russia's natural resources begs the question, how? How was the country in Russia able to control every aspect of the business? Is it also feasible for Europe to survive the winter without Russian gas? As a result, we can learn about Putin's conflict over energy. We must learn about Putin's base of support in order to comprehend his energy war. Putin became the president of Russia, succeeding Boris Yeltsin. The oligarchs who were new business oligarchs who emerged when Russia started to exit capitalism were the foundation on which Yeltsin built his power at the time. The oligarchs used financial capital to influence society by privatizing Russia's strategic industries, including the munitions and energy sectors. Their mighty capital had ties to politics. Finally, they developed into monopoly capitalists, and now no one can oppose the entente between business and politics. Even worse, they aided the mafia. No area including finance, the general public, transportation, and communication is beyond the oligarchs' control. However, following the 1998 Russian financial crisis, this oligarch was no longer able to have faith in the inept Yeltsin. So they sent in Putin because they wanted a strong government to guard their resources and position of authority. During the Putin administration, the Siloviki is a new force. The term Siloviki refers to individuals who work for the KGB, FSB, military, or police, and literally means people of force or strongman. In reality, Putin nominated the Siloviki because they had to be loyal to him, despite the fact that he was also a KGB agent. After that, Siloviki fundamentally altered Yeltsin's liberal ideology by highlighting the importance of free speech in the West and implementing Putin's authoritarianism. Many believe that Putin stripped oligarchs of all of their power. But Putin actually said to the oligarchs that they could participate in politics so long as they wouldn't go too far in opposing the Kremlin. So the Gentleman's Agreement of 2000 is what it is known as. However, it cannot be denied that the oligarch was less effective than in the past. Putin declared the separation of power and capital in August, eliminating oligarch, which was Yeltsin's domain. Boris Berezovsky, who dominated the political and economic sphere during the Yeltsin era, is the representative person. A powerful oil tycoon and chairman of Yukos, the largest private oil company in Russia, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, was jailed by Putin. Actually, Putin and Khodorkovsky have had a strained relationship. According to the story, Khodorkovsky informed Putin that the public officials in the Putin regime were involved in Rosneft's corruption, which upset Putin. Andrei Illarionov, the former senior advisor to Putin, told Khodorkovsky might not know the truth that Putin was relevant to Rosneft's corruption. He added that Khodorkovsky wouldn't dare utter the word in front of Putin if he knew. Additionally, Putin's containment of Khodorkovsky was growing as long as he had the chance to run for president in 2023. Unknown as to whether he irritated Putin, Yukos was accused of tax evasion and fined for unpaid taxes. Khodorkovsky was also detained and given a 14-year prison term for tax fraud. An unnamed company called Biker Finance purchased the bankrupt Yukos. Rosneft, on the other hand, has now been identified as the company behind Biker Finance. Rosneft effectively absorbed Yukos, to put it another way. Rosneft's true identity is known to all. Putin was able to establish a single energy behemoth with this. The Yukos crisis also marked the beginning of state control over significant industries. At that point, Putin had full control over the country's gas sector. Khodorkovsky, who has been Putin's bitter rival throughout his life and has lived in exile for a long time, has since come to represent the anti-establishment. After the Yukos crisis, Putin began seriously nationalizing the energy sector. In actuality, Putin had long wished to have control over the energy industry. He began developing ideas about the state's control over energy in the middle of the 1990s in an effort to save the collapsing national economy and restore Russia's status as a superpower. Alexei Miller was proposed by Vladimir Putin, chairman of the Russian energy giant Gazprom, to serve on the Committee for External Relations of the St. Petersburg Mayor's Office. Putin floated Gazprom as the largest energy sector under the Kremlin's influence and gave Miller the directive to have plenary power and change the company. Putin's active mergers, acquisitions, and partnership policies have greatly benefited Gazprom. Additionally, Putin has meddled in Gazprom's internal affairs. Putin used Gazprom, the largest corporation in Russia, as a potent tool in his country's foreign policy. The largest natural gas exporter in the world, Gazprom, which has benefited from government assistance, controls 94% of production, holds a monopoly on natural gas export from Russia, and has more than 60% of the country's natural gas reserve. You can consider Gazprom as having complete control over all aspects of Russian gas. Namely, the series system of state enterprise of Rosneft for oil, the gas Gazprom, and the oil pipeline Transneft, which reorganized Russia's energy industry. Putin is the head of Russia's Kremlin Corporation. Because Putin controls the entire Russian energy sector, he is able to threaten Europe with gas. In addition to Europe, Russia has recently announced that it will increase its gas shipment to Asia, Africa, and Latin America, while the nation tries to push Russia to the margins through sanctions. But we will not take the path of isolation, said President Putin. Putin's influence could grow in Asia, making it more challenging to isolate Russia internationally. It is difficult to turn a blind eye to Russia when there are no alternative energy sources to replace natural gas and oil. Who will prevail in this protracted energy war? So thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to click the subscribe and the like button.